Toys are usually made for kids, so we would expect them to be safe. But it seems like adults had a little too much fun when they were creating them, and they made some mistakes. An innocent toy can end up being surprisingly dangerous or not suitable to some people. And sometimes the problem is simply that the toy is too popular, as you will see later in this video. If this is your first time visiting our channel, don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today we are telling you more about 10 strange reasons toys were banned. Kinder Surprise. You could find two of the best things children love in a Kinder Surprise: chocolate and a toy. And even as grown-ups, we loved eating this sweet and playing with the toy for 5 minutes before throwing it away. But unfortunately, the party's over in the United States. Kinder Surprises have been illegal in that country since 1938. That's because there is a law against objects in candies. The toy could be a choking hazard for kids according to the FDA. It seems like not everyone understands that the surprise is actually inside the candy. The company already said that the toys were not suitable for kids under the age of 3, and that supervision is recommended. But this was not enough to prevent the accidents. Many children did choke on these toys. So this idea was not so ridiculous after all. In the US, Customs and Border Protection say that these treats might be cute, but they're too dangerous for children to be imported legally into the US. But that didn't stop people from smuggling Kinder Surprise across the border. 60,000 chocolate eggs were confiscated at the US-Canada border in 1 year. People were detained for the possession of Kinder Surprise, and the fine was up to $1,200 per egg. That's a lot of money for chocolate. Snap bracelets. In the 90s, these toys were one of the most popular trends in school. The idea was really simple. When it was slapped on someone's wrist, it took the shape of a bracelet. Kids didn't need many things to be happy, and that was so beautiful at that time. This toy was invented in 1983 by a high school shop teacher. Stuart Anders was playing with a steel ribbon when he discovered the $1 million idea. Then long pieces of steel were covered in fabric, and the slap wraps quickly grew into popularity. It was not only a way to have fun, but also a fashion statement. But unfortunately, all this attention came with jealous companies trying to steal the idea, and they did it in the worst way. The knockoff versions of the slap bracelet, made in Asia, were made of steel with sharper edges and cheaper fabric. When the metal rusted, it could wear through the fabric and hurt the children. The cheap imitations had to be recalled after a 4-year-old cut her finger with it. Then the toy was banned by schools in the state of New York, as there were more and more reports of the slap bracelet gone wild. The kids were still addicted to it, but it was more prudent to stop the craze before they could try to snap a bracelet around their neck. The Simpsons. After 28 seasons, The Simpsons is probably one of the best TV shows in America. We grew up with these characters who never aged. What we love the most about them is that they always make us laugh and sometimes even think. The characters don't mind making fun of our society, but unfortunately not everyone is laughing when it comes to this cartoon. Toys based on The Simpsons were banned in Iran. The Institute for the Development of Children and Young Adults didn't like it because it promotes Western culture. Even though they didn't give any details, it seems like the beers, the lazy husband, the misbehaving kids, in their opinion, were not things they wanted to see in their country. And they thought that by importing the toys, they would be promoting the cartoon, which is not what they want. So what are these kids playing with instead? Not all toys based on our favorite cartoons were banned in Iran. Even though most dolls of adults are usually banned in a Middle Eastern country, kids can still play with figurines of superheroes like Superman and Spider-Man. These characters were always there to help the oppressed, so we need them in every country. No matter where you come from, every boy and girl should be able to dream of saving the world. Dive sticks. Do you remember spending all summer in a pool when you were a kid? Maybe you are still doing it nowadays. One of our favorite games to play was to collect objects at the bottom of the pool as fast as possible. And the dive sticks were perfect for this. We just threw these toys in the water and they sank at the bottom. Then we were ready to dive and find them. But what could go wrong with these innocent toys? Most people think that it's dangerous to let kids play in the water without adult supervision. And they are right. But that was not the problem. Children had a little too much fun cannonballing seat first into the water directly on the dive stick, and more people were hurt when someone accidentally threw the toy in their face. This is how many children aged 6 to 9 ended up in the hospital having to have surgery. In 1999, 12 million dive sticks were destroyed, replaced, or repaired. It was the second largest recall by the US Consumer Product Safety at that time. Some groups even wanted to make it illegal to sell the toy in the United States. Fortunately, the design was simply changed so we can still have fun playing with the dive sticks today. Water balls. How can something so small cause enormous problems? These toys looking like marbles were not like any other. They were made in contact with water. They absorbed it and grew up to 400 times their original size. So imagine what would happen if someone swallowed it. This is exactly what happened to many children. They mistook the water-absorbing polymer bars for candies. They didn't choke on it, but suffered hours later when the toy was stuck in their intestines. It caused a lot of discomfort and could even be life-threatening, but the problem just got bigger when they went to the hospital. Because it was made of polymer, the water balls couldn't be seen on the x-ray. The children needed surgery to make sure the toy didn't stay in their body. The toy was finally banned in 2013. The company offered a refund even though 15,000 toys were already sold in Canada and the United States. We guess we'll just stick to expandable water toys shaped like animals and dinosaurs. They don't look like something that you should eat, and they're much more entertaining. Pokemon. All we wanted to be was the very best like no one ever was. Catching Pokemons was our real test, and to train them was our cause. We loved watching the show on TV and collecting trade cards, but also playing with the little figurines and the Pokeballs. But not everyone had the chance to become Pokemon trainers. The toy was banned in Saudi Arabia because of the religious symbols. You might be wondering what they were talking about, and so did the creators of Pokemon. The pocket monsters were not created with anything that had to do with religion. So what did people from Saudi Arabia see in these toys? The highest authority conservative Muslim state saw many six-pointed stars on the cards. This is why they said it promoted Zionism. They accused the popular Japanese game of possessing the minds of children. Another thing they worried about was that the game promoted gambling, which is forbidden under the Islamic law. The game required to buy cards and trade them, and they didn't think this was something children should be doing. If you think that this country is any different from yours, you'll be surprised to know that Britain almost banned Pokemon too. Police asked parents not to allow children out with the cards. Maybe this is just because adults were jealous of all the Pokemons that kids were able to catch. Cabbage Patch Doll. If there's one thing that could be wrong with dolls, it is that they're sometimes scary. They have been a part of different horror movies, and we have to admit that we're sometimes afraid they'll come to life during our sleep. But the Cabbage Patch Doll was nothing like that. Everyone thought the toy was cute until our nightmares became a reality. The Snacktime kids started eating children. The doll was supposed to eat plastic chips and fake food with a motorized mouth mechanism. But because kids will be kids, they put their fingers in it instead, and the doll bit them. And the situation was even worse when their hair was stuck in the toy. The Cabbage Patch Doll would just keep eating them until all the kids were bald. As there was no on and off switch, it seemed impossible to stop them. The only way they could do it was by removing the backpack as it was written in the instructions. But no one had time to read that when they were being eaten by a toy. This is why the doll with a taste for children was recalled in 1997. But these scary toys still exist somewhere. Doll collectors bought them before they were off the shelves, so this monster might still be hiding somewhere to get you. Harry Potter. We all dreamt of the day we would receive a letter saying that we would be going to Hogwarts. As Muggleborns, we were looking for signs that we were wizards. And even though nothing happened, we were probably just a little clumsy like Neville and would end up saving the situation in the end. Unfortunately, less fortunate children didn't have the chance to have that dream. The Salvation Army in Calgary received toys and donations but refused to distribute those based on Harry Potter to children in need. They believed that it promoted black magic, vampires, and the occult. Many parents in that city asked them not to include these kinds of toys in their donations. With so many people asking them to do so, they finally banned all Harry Potter books, movies, and toys. They threw away things worth up to $100. But they would have been outraged by another Harry Potter toy so many people complained about. It was a broom modeled after the wizard's first broom. What was so special about it is that it vibrated to make it seem like it was flying. When adults started joking they'd like to have this toy between their legs, parents thought that it was not suitable for children. Teletubby Poe. This character was part of one of the most popular TV shows for kids. This red Teletubby loved eating tubby toasts, riding his scooter, and watching television on the bellies of his buddies. But what could go wrong in this happy universe? It seems like someone had a bad influence on Poe because he learned some bad words. And then he was teaching them to children. The Teletubby toy could talk when you squeezed it, but some parents reported that he said unspeakable words. It included words like bite my butt and some anti-gay slurs. The head of the company making the toy explained that they simply misheard what Poe was saying, and it seemed believable because the Cantonese woman doing the voice could barely speak English correctly. The toy couldn't even say a proper hello. It also said cooter instead of scooter. This is why it was possible that the words faster, faster were confused with the anti-gay slur, and big hugs was confused with bite my butt. Or maybe these kids were just using po as an excuse instead of saying that they learned these bad words from their friends. Anyway, the company decided to make a new batch of Teletubby po that would have a better influence on children: fidget spinners. These toys are the new trend amongst kids and grown-ups. This little gadget simply spins in our hands or on a table for a minute. And we don't understand why, but they have become really addictive. We just can't keep ourselves from making them spin again and again. And surprisingly, this is the reason why they were banned. They were too popular. 32% of the top American high schools banned it or planned to ban it. The reason for this is that these toys are really distracting. Kids can't concentrate in class when they keep looking at their fidget spinners, and these gadgets are also potentially harmful when people are throwing it at each other in hallways. Unfortunately, this ban could have a negative impact on those who use it more than a toy. The fidget spinners were first used to ease symptoms of ADHD and anxiety. It helped kids feel better and have more concentration. But now that everyone wants one just for fun, those who really need it don't have the right to use it anymore. This is why some schools decided that children with sensory issues could still use it if they needed to. Are you one of these kids addicted to fidget spinners? We have to admit that we are. And that's it for 10 strange reasons toys were banned. What would you do if you received one of these gifts for your birthday? Don't be shy and tell us in the comments below. And for more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and watch 10 strange reasons why Disney movies were banned. Thanks for watching!